Be showing you guys how we were able to achieve this dimensional balayage look step by step. My weapons of choice starts with my favorite lightener, and that would have to be Schwarzkopf Blonde Me. This is my preferred lightener versus all the other products I've tried so far. It's very strong, offers up to 9 levels of lift, and I barely use any developer over 20 volume with it. I like to mix 3 ounces of Blonde Me powder with about 6 ounces of developer. The consistency I like to work with is a 1:3 ratio. And you cannot forget about our friend Olaplex. Guys, it's a game changer. I always ask my clients where they wear their primary part. Once I get their answer, whatever it could be, I make sure that it's there more than 60 to 70% of the time, because that will determine where the face frame, or as I like to call it, the money piece, would go. If you guys want to see a tutorial on that, leave that in the comment section. If you've been watching any of my previous videos, I tend to use this placement a lot. It's very comfortable to apply, and the bricklay pattern aids in the dimensional effect, which is what we're going for today. I prefer to work with clean sections. I hated it when I used to assist colorists and they had color flying everywhere and the foils were all crumpled up, but the neater that you work, the easier you'll make it for yourself when it's time to rinse. You essentially have 3 sections just in the back. One down the center that requires horizontal sections but moves vertically following the natural shape of the head. The other 2 on either sides are sectioned off diagonally but also moving in that vertical direction. I apologize for the glare from the foil. I record my videos through my iPhone, so please bear with me. Now, one other thing I keep mentioning in my videos is that after I tease or backcomb the hair, I secure the tease in 2 ways. One with the same comb I use to tease with, along with the clip to make sure that the comb stays in place. If you don't use the clip, the weight of the comb combined with the slack you create when you release the tension in the section might cause the comb to fall right out. If they flip their hair around often, the middle part is what you want to go with. The middle part is a universal type of part that will provide the best looking money piece more often than not. In this case, she has a deep part to the left, so the face frame / money piece can be heavier on that right side. If you're wondering why my client's face is blurred, due to her profession, she requested not to reveal her identity once this video will be uploaded. As we work in diagonal sections, keep going until you hit that corner on the top of their head. This is a fairly simple technique. It just requires a little bit of patience and repetition, and you'll catch on really quickly. If you have someone sitting in your chair with really dark or dense or thick or maybe all of the above type of hair, you absolutely must take thinly sliced sections along with proper saturation to achieve maximum lift if the goal is anywhere near blonde. One of the most important factors in your application is saturation. If you don't saturate well, you'll risk wasting time having to reapply and maybe even have uneven lifting throughout the section. You also want to close that foil pretty well, not allowing much air to dry out the product, which can and will slow down your processing time. If you notice, I'm not leaving any hair out with this client. Normally when you do that, you'd minimize dimension, but in this client's case, since I can tease from only a couple inches away from her ends, all the backcombing will be brushed out and will showcase that beautiful depth when it's all said and done. If you're wondering how thin or thick should my sections be and how wide, the answer to that depends on the situation. Unfortunately, there isn't a one-size-fits-all possibility here. However, an easy rule of thumb now is if you can't see through the section after you've backcombed, you either didn't backcomb properly, or backcomb enough, or the section is too thick. Comb everything back out and make the section thinner. Now for the width, it's much easier to determine. Since I use a lot of foils, I determine the width of my section to the width of my foils. I leave about an inch on both sides, so when I fold away the section, it can be secure enough not to oxidize. Another thing you might notice is I don't use V shapes. In fact, I'm not even painting. If anything, I'm leaving a very clear, unblended line of demarcation. This allows me to get the sections as bright as I need them, while having the backcomb act as the dimension, much like you would have visually seen with the V shapes. Now this is probably one of the most satisfying steps for me. I use my left hand to pull the foil, and simultaneously I use my right hand to pinch this section with my 2 fingers and squeeze out the excess product. As an assistant, Being ordered to take the clients back and forth to the sink to rinse out some sections because they were done processing was very annoying and very inconvenient. This method basically forces the exposed section to oxidize and dry out. Thus, the processing stops. Also, it doesn't bleed onto non-bleached hair. This only works if you've squeezed out almost all of the product. Some like to use towels, I like to use my fingers. Over here you can see that even when I'm touching the section I just pulled out with only my fingers, it's not leaving any sort of product on my hands, and that's what you want. This is probably one of the most asked questions that I get. How do you comb out all that hair? You just take each section one at a time and brush it out, starting from the ends and working your way up. For toning, I used Redken Shades EQ 9NB for the lengths and 5N for the demarcation line. If you only use the brighter toner, in this case 9NB, for a global type of toning, that demarcation line that I mentioned earlier will be right in your face, screaming that it's not blended. For that, we used 5N and melted both tones together, essentially creating a gradient transition from level 5 all the way to a level 9. I apply the lighter toner first, then proceed with the darker tone. Once you've applied both toners, you use the wow comb to brush through the toned hair. Guys, in order for the comb to work properly without causing pain to your guest, you must brush each section before you apply the toner, or else you'll be pulling on their hair and it's very uncomfortable for your guest. The toner processes for about 20 minutes, then is followed by a rinse along with the light shampoo to remove the scent from the toner. As I'm starting to blow dry the nape area, you can already see a preview of what it's going to look like. And remember that crazy demarcation line? Gone. Color melting at its finest. The blow dry I'm using is the Elchim 3900. I chose this brand over all the others like Babyliss or Parlux because Elchim has a repair center where no matter what happens to your blow dryer, you send it to them along with a $25 check and they repair the damages. And just in case you guys forgot what we started with, here's the before, and here's the gorgeous finish. A beautiful warm balayage with dimension on straight hair. Guys, I had a lot of fun making this video. If you've made it this far, please hit that like button so other stylists much like yourself can use this technique and expand their knowledge. See you in the next video.